Let us pray. Almighty God, the creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our actions so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria in general and Lagos State in particular. Amen. Good afternoon, distinguished colleagues. You are all welcome to today's sitting. Let us go through the votes and proceedings of Monday, 26 November 2018. Page 12, page 812, 813, Honorable Mohammed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just wanted to bring to the attention that I sought permission for my name being absent. I sought permission. My name is in absence. Thank you.
Yeah, Honorable Guyebu.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to call our attention to page 813 under question put and agreed to. Just towards the end of that page. And then item 2 in italics where they say that this house resolved to, and then you have in 2, urges His Excellency. I think what we should have there is resolved to urge, not urges.
It's odd.
What I have there is urges in my.
No, we have odd. I have odd. The question, another question put. Odd His Excellency. 814. It could be due to old age. You know, you have 4 eyes. Honorable Disola.
Thank you, sir. Sorry for taking you back. Page 812. I also want to mention that I did came to seek permission for me being absent.
Mr. Clerk, please take notes. I have examined the votes and proceedings of Monday, 26 November 2018, and approval is here granted. May we also quickly go through the vote and proceedings of BSA, Monday, 3rd December 2018. Page 15, page 16. I think the name of Honorable Bayo Shilowo is missing. Okay, it's under absent. Yeah, you have to put it under absent officially. We were all together at the program. I have examined the votes and proceedings of Monday, 3rd December 2018, and approval is here granted. Any message from the governor?
Right, Honorable Speaker, sir, distinguished honorable members, we have two correspondence from His Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State. The first one is addressed to the Right Honorable Speaker, Lagos State House of Assembly, House of Assembly Complex, LSHA Ikeja, with reference number lasg.gov/1/volume5/181, and it is titled Confirmation of Nominees for the Lagos State Teaching Service Commission, TESCOM. With your kind permission, I'll read, sir. The Right Honorable Speaker is invited to kindly recall the passage of the Lagos State Post-Primary Teaching Service Law of 2018, which provides for constitution of the commission, which shall compose of a chairman and 4 other members. It is therefore in accordance with the law that the underlisted personalities who have been assessed and found to be people of proven integrity with relevant professional experience in consonance with the provisions of Section 7 of the law are hereby presented for screening and subsequent confirmation of the House of Assembly. 1, we have Mrs. Olabisi Elizabeth Ario, Chairman, Mr. Manuwa Ashaka, Member, Mrs. Sidika Titilayo Smith, Member, Mr. Adeleke Kara, Member, and Mrs. Azan Kubrat A, Member. It is pertinent to note that upon their confirmation, they shall hold office for a period of 4 years, as stipulated in Section 8, subsection 1 of the law, C-96 of the Teaching Service Commission. While I count on your favorable consideration and confirmation of the nominees, please accept the assurances of my warmest regards for your good self and the entire members of our esteemed State House of Assembly at all times. Signed, His Excellency Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, Governor of Lagos State. The second letter is also addressed to the Right Honorable Speaker, Lagos State House of Assembly, Assembly Complex, LSHA Ikeja, with reference number lasg.gov/1/volume5/195, entitled Nomination as the General Manager, Lagos State Public Procurement Agency. A trade, sir. The Lagos State Public Procurement Agency was established in accordance with the Lagos State Public Procurement Agency and for Connected Purposes Law 2012 to inter alia formulate the general policies and guidelines relating to public sector procurement and supervise the implementation of established procurement policies. Section 12, subsection 1 of the law provides that the general manager of the agency shall be appointed by the governor, subject to the confirmation of the House of Assembly. Accordingly, Mr. Fatai Idowu Onafowote is hereby presented as the General Manager of the Lagos State Public Procurement Agency. While looking forward to the favorable consideration and confirmation of the Honorable House of Assembly, please be assured of my warm esteem and sincere regard. Signed, His Excellency Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, Governor of Lagos State. That's all, sir.
Any other announcements?
None, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Petition,
None, Mr. Speaker, sir.
matter budget public reporters, personal explanation, reports, majority leader.
Right, Honorable Speaker. We have in the House 6 nominees of the governor for screening. One as nominee of the governor, General Manager, Lagos State Public Procurement Agency. 5 others, Mr. Speaker, as nominees for, as members of Lagos State Teaching Service Commission. Names of the nominees have been read earlier. Mr. Speaker, to be able to admit these people to the chamber for screening, may I humbly move that we activate Section 114 of the Rules of the House, which admits strangers to the chambers. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Honorable Lulade.
I rise to second the motion as properly
All in
moved.
favor say ayes. Those against the ayes have it. Yeah, can you please bring the nominees, the procurement first? Good afternoon, Mr. Fataido Onofowote. Well, distinguished colleagues, standing before you is Mr. Fatai Onofowote, a nominee of the governor, and is standing before us based on the provision of the procurement law, section 12 subsection 1, which says the general manager of the agency shall be appointed by the governor, subject to the confirmation of the House. So before you standing is Mr. Onofowote. Can you please introduce yourself?
Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members, my name is Onofowote Fatai Idowu.
Is that all the introduction you have?
My name is Onofowote Fatai Idowu. I was born in 16th February 1967. I attended Lidla Primary School, Bariga. I attended Ilugu Central Academy, Ibidodo, Shebora, Ogun State. I attended School of Basic Studies for my A-levels, also in Ogun State. I attended University of Ibadan between 1986 and 1990. I did my master's in information science between 1994 and 1997. I started my career with Lagos State Agri-Development Project as a seed multiplication officer, Eric Rodo Seed Farm. Thereafter, I became a planning officer. I also became a program secretary, State Food Security Program. Thereafter, I became a desk officer for Commercial Agriculture Development Project, a World Bank project. So I did that. A 4-year project was eventually extended by another 2 years. So I did that up to 2016. I was supporting Lagos State Public Procurement Agency as a member of the Technical Review Committee, working with the immediate past general manager. That's up till May 2016. That's about, I'm married with children.
Yeah, thank you. My distinguished colleagues, the floor is open. If you have questions to ask Mr. Onofowote, but I want to appeal to each one of you to go straight to your question. Just ask question. Yeah, Honorable Victor Akonde.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Distinguished colleagues, good afternoon. Sir, on page 1 of your CV, you were clear that you study agriculture and information technology. How does this correlate with procurement? That's one. 2, on page 2,
Please, you can take your seats and take down the questions.
Thank you, sir.
on page 2 of your CV, working experience, we can equally see that you've been acting. You have been acting as general manager since May 2016. Then, if you have been acting, which is against the rule or the law, then why are we here? Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Lo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my colleague, good afternoon. Mr. Idowu, you talk about your experience, but you never shed more light on your experience as procurement officer at different times. And being the GM or proposed GM of procurement, you know what it entails. I want to ask this question. What are you bringing to bear at ensuring that the essence of decentralizing procurement is achieved? Then, within your own sensibilities, do you think or appreciate that requirements such as insurance bond and bank guarantees are prerequisites before procurement can be processed to save Lagos State money? Thank you.
Honorable Lonyi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, fellow colleagues. Mr. Onofowote, there are so many reforms going on at the Lagos State House of Assembly to enhance the efficiency and the effectiveness of the Public Procurement Agency. Now, my question is this. As a stakeholder, what can you bring to the table? And how do you intend to support this drive to improve the Public Procurement Agency? That is one. 2, The initial contractual mobilization payment, which stands at 20%, has been considered by many as inadequate and the reason for several incomplete projects in the state. Now, what is your stand on this 20% mobilization fee? 3, you have been acting since 2016. And what has been your achievement since 2016 to 2018? Thank you very much.
We shall.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, colleague. My first question to the nominee of the governor is for him to explain or shed light on what is the letter of no objection. I have a document here that shows you signed one sometime in 2016, dated 8th June, another one dated 19th August 2016. While you are answering that question, I also would like to ask you what the governing rules on procurement, public procurement is, vis-a-vis prior budgetary appropriation. If, because I may not, Mr. Speaker, I don't know if I'll get the opportunity to ask him this follow-up question after answering that question. If one of the conditions of governing rules on public procurement has to be budgetary appropriation, then I would want to ask why you appended your signature to a letter of no objection to expenditure of the state which is not budgeted for. That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Jude, lastly.
Good afternoon, my speaker, my dear colleagues. Sir, please, can you go to page 2? Your page 2. You were acting as Assistant Director, Procurement, from July 2013 to May 2016. I want to ask you, does it mean your agency doesn't have provision for director position? And how come you are now moving from assistant director straight to acting general manager? Are you the oldest staff in that organization, or is there any other person ahead of you? Those are my few questions. Thank you.
Mr. Nofowote, over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished members, honorable members, I studied agricultural biochemistry and nutrition at my first degree at the University of Ibadan. In my career, I became a procurement officer in 2009 under the Commercial Agricultural Development Project, a World Bank project, that is working in Lagos State. So I've been doing procurement activities under the World Bank project since 2009. And that is where I've gathered all the experience about procurement. Then I also enrolled with the Chartered Institute of Purchasing and Supply Management of Nigeria, and I became a chartered member of that institute. So I've been certificated as a procurement specialist, and that's why I was offering my support to the agency even while the erstwhile general manager was there. So I was part of the technical team reviewing requests that come from MDAs to decide whether they have justification to collect letter of no objection. That is my experience as procurement officer. I started with the World Bank, and I was doing that up till May 2016. In fact, the Public Procurement Agency wrote a letter to that project to release me for 2 days in a week so I could give them necessary support to move procurement forward in the state. And I was doing that. That's my experience as a procurement officer, sir. Now, with bringing a requirement of insurance bond, the fund that is given to any contractor is supposed to be protected because it's a public fund. And that is the reason why bond, which could come either from bank or insurance, will be accepted from who-be contractors as a way of ensuring that fund that is that ordinarily was as a result of taxpayers is protected when it is given to contractors. Reform, I am in support of the reform that is going on in the House, especially as it reflects the review of the public procurement law. I have also stated I've been privileged to speak to the issue of 40%, where I said it should be a range. That is, it could oscillate between 20 and 40% because it has a lot to do with cash management of the state, which sometimes, if the contract is heavy and we are applying a uniform 40% all through, we may be having issue of cash management. I also mentioned the fact that the advancement to any contractor is like a loan, which has to be collected back. And in view of the fact that it will be collected back, there are contractors who may not want to collect that mobilization because they are supposed to be evaluated and their financial capability is part of evaluation. So where they have the financial muscle to commence project, they may not request for mobilization. But where they request, I suggested that it should oscillate between 20% and 40% in view of the fact that I also am of the view that 20% is low and it needs to go up. But there are times when somebody is satisfied with 30% or it could be satisfied with 35%. So sticking to 40% is the reason why I said it's better to make it a range between 20 and 40%. Well, as per acting, I want to sincerely apologize because I know what the law says about acting. I am a child of circumstance. I had to act because my immediate past boss resigned upon getting his second term approval. So, and instead of, to avoid leaving a vacuum in the system, especially for a very critical agency such as procurement, is the reason why my participation in that agency over the years was considered. And I was given a verbal directive to head the place pending approval that I am facing today. Then I was also presented to the general procurement officers in the state, and just to confirm, for them to confirm that my sitting there will be acceptable to them. And so when that was accepted, is the reason why I was managing the place with the cooperation of the procurement officers in the state. Now, as per my contribution over the period, we have continued to develop capacity, even though we know that a number of us were drawn from different fields that has nothing to do with procurement initially. So we have a lot of work to do as per community of practice, networking, and sharing of information. So I've been supporting them on a monthly basis to ensure that we discuss topical issues to build the capacity of procurement officers in the state. then I need to shed light on letter of no objection. Letter of no objection is released when the agency, as a regulatory agency, reviews documentation that is submitted by the various MDAs, and if it is substantially, because there is no perfect documentation, if it is substantially okay, we issue letter of no objection. If it is not okay, we issue general correspondence. Sometimes we invite the agencies to a meeting, discuss the things that are missing, insist that they include those things that are missing before we issue no objection, especially when the threshold is above 10 million naira. But where it is less than 10 million naira, we guided them because we will still go and do a post-review on their activities. So we guided them to ensure that the documentation is also properly done, so that any particular point when the agency chooses to visit those MDAs and we review the file, we will observe that due process has been followed in executing the less than 10 million project. Governing rule and procurement prior budgetary allocation. Basis of any approval, sir, is procurement plan. And so what we have started insisting, going since 2018, but I will still speak to 2016, is that without a procurement plan, which is reviewed at the beginning of the year, it will be difficult for MDAs to push a request, because we also told them that procurement plan is the foundation and is also dynamic. So when it is a foundation and is dynamic, we encourage them to always submit it with their request. And so they have been complying largely, even though we still have some agencies that have not complied fully. But we also believe that we need to do a lot of advocacy, a lot of sensitization to deepen compliance in the state. And we are in process of continuing to deepen compliance among the various MDAs, because a number of them still believe that beyond a particular point, that procurement is not necessary. But I must also use this opportunity to appreciate the House for the effort, especially when it comes to oversight, that they have put forward to ensure that agencies of government comply with due process in executing the various contracts. Now, as per the no objection of June and August 2016, we have a checklist which is the basis for issuing no objection. And one of the checklists is vote of charge commitment, where there's a vote, an authority to incur expenditure, where there are issues of vote, which is usually obtained at the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget, which is the agency of government that is saddled with everything that concerns budget and how it is applied. So we have checked the vote of charge or authority to incur expenditure, and it was because that was added to the document that was sent to the agency was a reason why my signature will be on that letter of no objection. Then immediately after no objection, it is sent back to the ministry to continue to do the remaining process, because in each agency we have a procurement officer who follow up, especially when it has to do with contract management. But we still have problem with contract management. I must share this with you, that we still have challenge of contract management in the state, to the extent that people still believe that beyond award, notification of award, procurement officers don't have business in how contract is managed. But we continue to do advocacy to ensure that we sensitize the accounting officers to understand that until a contractor is paid, the process involved is still procurement. Well, as acting from July 2013 as assistant director, my career has been in the civil service, even though I I was privileged to be working with the World Bank project. But my service moved fully into the Civil Service of Lagos State in January 2014, and I became an assistant director, procurement, in the Civil Service of Lagos State. And since then, I've been working in PPA. But in the PPA at that time, I was the most senior as with the regulatory agency. So, and I sent my CV along with my colleagues, and the experience of World Bank was just the advantage that I have over and above all other officers that were drawn from various other professions. But my experience of the World Bank was the advantage that I had over them. That is as per the last question that I was speaking to my doing procurement, assistant director of procurement since July 2013, and whether I was the most senior person in PPA to have been considered. Thank you very much for the opportunity, sir.
Honorable Shah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The nominee has tried to answer the question, but what he has told us now, if I can reconfirm that to me, is that there's something called authority to incur expenditure, and authority to incur expenditure overrides the appropriation law. We need to understand that. If that is exactly what you're telling us now, that for you, the authority to incur expenditure overrides the appropriation law. Because as procurement officer, you are supposed to balance and be the gateway of expenditure within the state to ensure judicious expenditure of the income of a state. And anything that is not in the budget according to this law, section 22, subsection 1G, requires you to have budgetary provision. It means that you are telling us here that for as many AIE, authority to incur expenditure, which does not pass to this house, that you get, you will be ready to subvert the appropriation. I need you to make that very clear to us so we'll know the essence of what we're doing here. Or you want to become someone that will help this government to stick to budgetary provision. Please, we would like to hear that.
Thank you very much. I am particularly happy at some of the information that is coming out as a result of my being here. I take sincerely, I apologize for the acting capacity. I must also do same and also assure you that I will do everything to ensure that what is in line with the rule is what the agency will do going forward. So we will continue to scrutinize it much, much better than we currently do. And just like I said, we will still push forward on advocacy and sensitization to dissuade people from attaching such document when they are sending requests to the agency. Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Idowu, you responded to my question by saying that APG and insurance bond are prerequisites prior to the award of contract. And you have been acting as the acting GM since 2016. But what we have seen so far has not laid any credence to that. And that's why I asked that question. We have seen a lot in terms of even executive projects that have no insurance bond, no this. So what have you brought to bear since 2016 when you became the acting GM to date at ensuring that, because what we have seen so far to date, as I'm speaking with you, I have not seen that in place. So what you are telling me, you need to lay more, shed more light into that, because what you have said is at variance with what is happening or what is practical for now. Thank you.
Honorable Jude.
Thank you, my speaker. Mr. Fataidu, while you were speaking, you said something. You said there is no perfect documentation. I don't understand that. What do you mean? There is always a prerequisite for you to qualify standards laid down by any agency or organization for you telling us there is no perfect documentation. Could you please explain that to me? Thank you.
Well, I don't want you to go through those things because they've asked you questions and you've already answered them. What I've noticed is that you are just, being evasive from actually accepting your fault. Because there is, as a procurement officer, there is no way you not have the copy of the budget of the state. So if anybody had issued authority to incur expenditure, you have the, what is it called, the copy of the budget, which you can, on your own, go through department by MDAs by MDAs, department by department, units by units, to actually confirm if there's a provision for such projects in the budget, telling us that because someone has issued authority to incur expenditure or enough receipt for you to have appended your signature is not tenable. And besides that, the issue of bond, which is very critical to us, as rightly observed by Honorable Lowe, either from the bank or from insurance, it seems not to be working. As we speak, we have a lot of projects that have been awarded some years back, some of recent, and nothing has been done. Most of them, nothing has been done as we speak, and they have collected substantial, even the 20% you talk about in your procurement law, it's not even been adhered to. Some contractor has gotten 40%, some 50%, some 60%, and yet they have not done anything after 2-3 years. Even in a case whereby some equipment have to be supplied, they have collected money 2-3 years later, so the equipment have not been supplied. So, reason why I'm supporting those asking questions, since 2018 or when, 16, 2016, what have you done in this respect to introduce a new measure or to correct this? So, because it doesn't make sense. You talk about fund, availability of fund, that we should vary what goes to a contractor, either 20% or 40%. If a contractor is viable, we can give him 20%, and those in need of money, that shouldn't be our own problem. Our is to empower them, our is to monitor whatever we have given them and ensure that such project is delivered as at when agreed upon. But the question is, you keep on giving money and there is no kind of a system in place that can stop a situation where a contractor will get money and disappear. So that's what we are expecting of you. That's what we want to hear from you. But I think you have told us that we are still in the same place, and the essence of the procurement law as introduced by World Bank, if I'm correct, it was a law that was introduced by World Bank, to prevent corruption. And if we are still in the same place without progress, then it seems the law is not working. And that is the reason why we have taken up the law to look into it and amend some of the sections and introduce some other things that will be of help, because we can't continue to waste funds that is not available. The little we have to give, the judicious use of it. So we want to thank you for honoring our invitation. We have listened to you, we've heard you, and we will get back to you after the deliberation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Bring those education one after the other, please. afternoon. You are welcome to the Harrow Chambers of Lagos State House of Assembly. I will receive a letter from the governor introducing you as a nominee. The Lagos State Teaching Service Commission. Can you please introduce yourself to the others?
The Right Honorable Speaker of the House of Assembly, distinguished honorable members of the House of Assembly, I am Mrs. Elizabeth Olabisi Ario. I was born in 1956, 7th May 1956, to the Olusoya family of Agege. I attended Methodist Primary School, Agege, Lagos African Church Grammar School, Ifako, Agege, Victory High School, Ikeja. I now went to United Missionary College, a teaching college at Ibadan, Okeado Ibadan, where I got the grade 2 teacher certificate. I started working as a teacher in Odogbo Primary School, LSHA. I was later posted to Babalola Memorial Girls Grammar School in LSHA. I moved back home to Ajuwon High School, Iju Ajuwon. I proceeded on further studies to University of Lagos. I had a break in my service and I went to University of Lagos from 1982 to 1986. I got Bachelor's of Arts degree in education, specializing in English language. I started work as a teacher with Lagos State School of Basic Studies in 1986. I got permission to study further. I went for my master's in adult education and later had another master's in public and international affairs. I've worked in the education sector as an inspector, as a planning officer, and later worked with the State Primary Education Board. I converted into the admin cadre in 1997. I rose to the post of Director of Finance and admin, working in various ministries. I became a permanent secretary in 2015, and I retired from service May 6, 2016. Thank you, sir. I'm married with children.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, standing before you is Mrs. Ario Elizabeth Olabisi, the nominee of the governor. You have a question? Just please go straight to your question. Majority Leader. You can take your seat now.
Thank you, sir.
Right, Honorable Speaker. The narration of Mrs. Ario confirms the documentation about her. Mr. Speaker, if all that we want is competence and knowledge in teaching matters to be able to perform critically well as member of Teaching Service Commission, Mr. Speaker, Mrs. Ario, to my conviction, has prerequisite knowledge and ability, and I think it will be a mark of honor to knowledge to just give her presumption of regularity as a person who is fit and proper to be a member of the Teaching Service Commission. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Desmond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to stand to totally agree on what Majority Speaker has said, sir. But Mrs. Ario, I would like to ask a very vital question. About a year ago, about 22,000 teachers were sacked from Kaduna State by the governor. And one of his reasons one of the reasons he gave was the fact that they were unqualified and incompetent. Capacity of those teachers were below par. What reforms do you think you would need to bring to the fore when you are confirmed with you and your team to ensure that there's periodic assessment of these teachers as they come, because this is a major instrument of national development? Thank you.
Honorable Lowo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will want to adopt the observation and the statement of our Honorable Agumbi, the majority leader. But, Madam, it's of great concern to me that many teachers haven't worked as volunteer teachers over the years, and they've been adjudged to have done well, and not are given the opportunity to serve. Rather, they employ from elsewhere, because I've seen that, and I've read the function of the commission. I hope by the time you come in, you'll be able to resolve that. About a week ago, I was in my constituency. An elderly man came to me. He was sweating profusely under discussion zone and said, Honorable, I learned you are the honorable here. What can you do to assist us? We are about 15. That we have been retired as teachers in Lagos State over 3 years, and we have not been paid pension. Then issue the borders on pension and welfare. You're supposed to work with the Ministry of Establishment, Training and Pension. Please do something differently that will guarantee the teachers' pension immediately they leave the system. You know, people say teachers' reward is in heaven. Let them have it in this world before they die, because it's their right. Thank you.
Honorable Jude.
Good afternoon once more, my speaker and colleagues. Please, I don't think I'm fit enough to ask you a question. It might be no, but something I saw here, I need clarification. When you were introducing yourself, ma, you said Methodist Primary School, Agege. But ma, I'm seeing Apapa here. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm seeing Methodist Primary School, Apapa. I don't know whether there's Apapa in Agege. I don't know. That is one. Then, qualification, school attended. Look at it down there. Qualification, your first school leaving certificate, ma. In the 1 and 2, school attended with dates. Please look at it very well. You have Methodist Primary School, Apapa, written here, from 1964 to 1969. Then the corresponding qualification, first school leaving certificate, here you are also writing 1974. Please, I don't understand. So maybe that's what I'm seeing here. So maybe you clarify me. I don't know. Because if you said, okay.
Sorry, Honorable. If you are looking at the schools attended with dates, number 1,
yes, sir.
Methodist Primary School, Agege.
Exactly.
1964 to 69. Number 2, Lagos African Church Grammar School, Ifako. 1970
what I'm having here is a papa.
to 1974. So what is it you are talking about?
I'm having a papa on my own, sir.
Okay, thank you. You know you are somehow different from the rest of us here.
Anyway, you're welcome, man. Thank you.
Honorable Lua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mrs. Ario, I want to take you to your certificate, your University of Lagos certificate. Before me here, I can see the date that they issued the certificate was 29th of August, 1986. On the next page, we have your certificate of exemption. And the date of the certificate of exemption was 1st of August, 1986. How come, ma? The The next question is, do you pay your tax? The document before here shows there is no tax clearance. And ma, how conversant are you with the educational districts in Lagos State to know how to work with the synergy in order to improve the educational sector in the state? Can you tell us how many districts and what are the names of the districts? Thank you.
Honorable Senator Gila.
Thank you very much, sir. Madam, your competence to handle this office is not in doubt. It has been well articulated by the majority leader. My concern is just about the death of teachers in Lagos State. We don't have enough teachers. There are so many schools without teachers. That's the truth of the matter. Most of them, they don't have enough, and there are people that have been, sometimes parents say teachers association, sometimes they employ them. So I want you to use your experience and your office to do something about this. And also the welfare of teachers. Whatever we are today, we are all taught by one teacher or the other. So we need to take their welfare very seriously. Most of them want to leave the classroom. Teachers are getting fed up with classroom. What can we do to motivate them? So I'm being an experienced teacher, being an experienced educationist. I want you, whatever you can do to assist us here to work on the welfare of teachers, because there are so much complaints. And those are the issues basically that concerns me. You are more than qualified to hold that office, but please assist the state for us to move forward in that area. Thank you.
Yeah, you can now respond to the questions.
Distinguished Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members of the House, on the issue of pension, we ensure that we monitor the payment of the pension of teachers. What is happening now is that because we don't have a central body, the teachers are processing the pension benefits individually. But as it is provided for in the law, there is a section for the pension of the teachers, and we ensure that they get their pension as at when due. It's very rare in Lagos State, even as at now, it's very rare for teachers not to get their pensions as at when due, because the thing has been done up to 2015-16. And we get there that they will get it 3 months, 4 months after retirement.
Have you gotten yours?
What do you say, sir?
If you have gotten your own pension, you say you have retired.
Yes, I have retired, sir.
Yeah, have you gotten your own pension?
Yes, sir. In the civil service, they do get it barely a year after retirement. And that's the same thing we are going to replicate in the Teaching Service Commission. We have 6 districts in the educational sector, and I'm very, very familiar with the 6 districts, because I retired as Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education, and we worked hand in hand, and I'm quite sure we'll be able to harmonize everyone together. In respect of the number of teachers in school, shortage of teachers in school, we find out that sometimes it is just the distribution that is the problem, not really shortage. For instance, in District 1, we have SS teachers, while in other districts we don't have enough. The problem there is that most people live in that area. They can't afford to live some of them cannot afford to live in Lagos Island and places like that, so the sense of commuting. But we will address the issue, we will let them know that we need to evenly distribute the teachers so that the state as a whole can get the benefit of having an overall development in terms of education. Teachers' welfare. I think what led to the re-establishment of TESCOM is the issue of there being no appellate body for the teachers in general. And the purpose of the whole thing is for us to ensure that they are catered for in a way that it will impact positively on the students. Because if, I don't know whether I can speak Yoruba. Inú dídùn ló mórí yá. If they are happy working, the output will definitely improve. And that is one of the things we will try to do. I think I've answered all the questions, sir.
We want to thank you for coming, and I think some of the questions that have been asked, which you've not answered, the one by Honorable Jude, I think probably his own copy is different from ours, as it's also, special. It's in this house from all of us. Page 1, we have school attended with dates. It's Methodist Primary School, Agege, 1964 to 69, and African Church Grammar School, Ifako. She added Agege. Ifako used to be under Agege, probably around that period. And someone also asked about test clearance. I can see a copy of the test clearance. Yeah, if I'm right, but there's a question asked by pertaining to certificates and letter of certificate of exception. Can you please say something about that? I think
the University of Lagos will sign our certificate the day we convocate, and NYSC will have signed as soon as they get the list of graduates. Will have signed the NYSC certificate. So we collected the two together on the day of convocation.
Well, nowadays it will take 10 years after you have graduated before you get a certificate. At times you have to go to court. So if the question is asked, it's understandable. The current generation is different from your own. So we thank you for coming. You can take your leave. We'll get back to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bring in the next person. Good afternoon. Can you please introduce yourself?
The Honorable Speaker, sir, distinguished members of this House of Assembly, I, Jacob Mawunu Ashaka, was born on the 21st of February, 1958, to the Ashaka family of Tokpo in Badagry local government. I was educated at early primary school, local authority primary school, Tokpo, Idale in Badagry, between 1965 and 1971. Shortly thereafter, I proceeded to Methodist Secondary Modern School for the 3 years program that led me to Secondary Modern School Certificate. Thereafter, sir, in 1976, I proceeded to Government Teacher Training College, Badagry, for my grade 2 certificate. In 1979. And I was employed as a classroom teacher by Ministry of Education, or transferred to local authority primary school, Akarakumo in Badagry. I worked there briefly for a year because I was redeployed again to Tokpo Grammar School. In 1981, I proceeded on study leave to the then Lagos State College of Education, now Adeniran Ogunsa College of Education, or Toijanikin, where I bagged my NC certificate in agricultural science, and that was 1984. Then I went to serve my fatherland, NYC, at Cross River State. I was reabsorbed into the teaching profession in 1985 after the completion of my NYC. And I was posted to Agboju Secondary School. I worked there for about 9 years, and thereafter I was redeployed to Satellite Secondary School. Sir, as a result of my quest for knowledge, I gained admission to Lagos State University for my first degree program in science education. And thereafter, after a year or two, I went back to Lagos State University for my higher degree program in educational management and administration in 2001. Sir, I work in various secondary schools. So God will have it, as a result of my discipline, hard work, and as I was appointed a vice principal academics. and I was posted to Community Secondary School, Ojo. In 2003, I was moved to Lagos State Model College, Ojo. And thereafter, sir, I was redeployed to Lagos State Model Senior College, Kankon, Badagry, as the Vice Principal Administration. As a result of diligent, hard work, and sense of responsibility, I was appointed principal and immediately deployed to Lagos State Model Junior College, Kankon, Badagry, in February 2007. Thereafter, sir, I was again moved to the secondary school again of the same school, Lagos State Senior Model College, Kankon, as the principal after retirement of Mrs. S.O.S. Oli. Under my leadership style, sir, the school improved tremendously, and several awards were won by the school under my leadership. Sir, at both local, state, and federal, we won series of awards. But later, in 2013, I was moved back again to the junior school. And I also have won several awards to my credit. Eventually, on the 1st of July 2014, I retired. I belong to several professional associations, including Science Teacher Association, Teacher Registration Council, ANCOPS, All Nigeria Confederation of Principals of Secondary School, and others. Sir, what I was having, twice the Lagos State government appointed me on short course in the United Kingdom.
Mr. Ashaka,
Yes, sir.
can you please summarize all this?
Thank you, sir. So as a result of what I saw there, when we came back, I introduced those things, and actually those things made the school more thicker in competitions and other things. I'm married to Mrs. Ronke Ashaka. I'm blessed with 2 children. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. You can take your seat. My distinguished colleague, standing before you is Mr. Jacob
Thank you,
Manu Ashaka, one of the governor's nominees. Please go straight to your question. Honorable Nayode.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to stand up to ask question, but the other time, maybe you did not catch my attention. When Madam Mrs. Ariyo, she was here, I was so happy. But the only thing I'm so current about my colleagues, at least you should be giving a lot of respect to Mr. Speaker.
Can you make use of the mic, please?
Mr. Speaker, So my colleague then, when Mrs. Ario, she was here, I said my colleague were trying to be asking her a series of questions. I said at least you should have even given her a respect, even not, if Mr. Speaker is here, is someone from Agege, born and bred in Agege. Went to primary school in Agege. Secondary school also, if I call beside Agege. And we are having Mr. Speaker here as a person, number 3 person in this state, from Agege. At least my colleagues over there, Larafel. Mr. Speaker,
what connection does that have?
What I'm trying to tell them, sir, even then when one of us, he was trying to ask, looking the book and saying, and even you even tell that person that.
Why was she invited, Honorable Layode?
To ask a question.
So what is the
but
problem?
Even the question that they are asking, you can even see here. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, well, my brother is here also.
Who is your brother?
Mr. Speaker, I'm not saying they should not ask questions, but at least I want to say it here that Mr. Shaka is from Badagry, and you can see Yoruba will say, you can see what he has been telling us. He doesn't even go to anywhere. What we are trying to employ him for is the one telling us from primary school, Tokpo Badagry, secondary school, Tokpo Badagry, and the job we are even employing him for is on the. So the teaching the professional job that we are trying to employ. So Mr. Speaker, I can see my brother, Mr. Shaka, is very capable and can do this job, which I can also stand for him and vouch for him, that one of us that we are all proud of him in our community in Badagry. Mr. Speaker, also, honestly, one thing I want to ask question that I'm always quarrel with anybody. I don't take that one for granted. Anytime they are asking you to submit your CV, going through it, you provide the Lagos State residential card permit. I'm very, very annoyed with that. You maybe want to be a governor or coming to me that something that the law of this state asks you to provide any screening or something like that, you didn't provide it. No, it's not there. That's the ID card. The ID card of their
Astra ID card.
ID card. They didn't provide. No, that one is not Astra ID card. That one is.
Thank you very much.
Observation.
Civil service. Their own ID card.
Thank you, Honorable Layode.
So I think that is the only word I'm observing their certificate. I mean their CV, sir. So thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Observation. Observation.
I thank
Observation.
your submission. But unfortunately, we are not appointing him for Tokpo Badagry. So we are screening him to serve the state. Honorable Naim.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, fellow colleagues. While I want to agree with Honorable Layode, I have one or two questions for our father, Baba. Sir, I've looked at your profile. You have so many experiences. You have taught in so many schools, secondary schools and primary schools, model colleges and all that. So I want you to tell us the challenges confronting the secondary schools in the state. Now that we are having issues of cultism in secondary schools, tell us the challenges and what kind of solution do you think we can prefer to these challenges? That is one. Two, how do you intend to work as a team with your fellow board members to move the teaching service forward? Thank you very much.
Honorable
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleague, on a lighter note, maybe Mr. Ashaka is not living in Badag. Maybe he lives in Kutonu. That's why he doesn't have last tracker. On a serious note, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Ashaka, I appreciate the fact that you have bias for sciences. Your NC was in the agricultural science, your BED, science education, then you have educational management of education, your MED. To what extent can you use this to influence the guidelines and policies of the state at ensuring that our youngsters in secondary school imbibe education that can move them forward? If we appreciate the fact that in Lagos and Nigeria generally today, the issues that borders on having the basic knowledge in sciences, be it electronics, all other things that happen in other climes that can start our development. What policy will you put in place? And a rider to that, we know we have vocational centers in Lagos State. And today, we know that this institution is very, very germane and relevant to our developmental goals. To what extent will you allow vocational centers to be repositioned at ensuring that our kids learn skills that can make them to be independent after post-secondary school? Thank you.
Honorable Desmond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Jacob, going through your resume, it's very, very obvious that you have teaching imbibed in your system, sir. So much for we can say for a lot of teachers today. I want to say that you have a huge task in your hands, sir, in imbibing the culture that you've learned and putting it upon the present-day teaching system. I will just add a bit to what Honorable Loa said. Do you think he was talking about post-secondary school on vocational? Do you think, even though I know we have to do it from the assembly, that there is a need for every teaching system as it is today in our secondary schools to start imbibing that vocational studies from GS1? Thank you.
Well, lastly, Honorable Akondo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Jacob, Nawe, go to page 2 of your CV. That is working experience. The last one, you wrote principal August 2013 till date. Till date. That's that. Then I want to ask you this question. From your experience, sir, and as an educationist, you observe that one of the subjects that the student really failed woefully in examination for so many years is Yoruba language. And we are in Yoruba State. What can you do to make sure that this is averted? When you look at the WAEC result every year, they fail Yoruba language woefully. Then, lastly, sir, go to the last page of your CV. I want to know, there are some people that they would like the government, they would like to even stay in government to continue working. Why did you choose to resign? Because you are the one that wrote an application for statutory retirement. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chaka, can you please?
Yes, sir. As regards the first question, the challenges that's confronting Lagos State secondary schools, education. Yes, that is true, sir. From my experience, while I was in service, majority of these secondary students, especially boys, most of them we discover are into drug abuse, and other things. We have to make sure, sir, that counseling should be an integral part of the school system. So we have counselors, but they are so many schools that are without counselors. This is one of the areas which they are supposed to handle with the guidance of the school authority. So I want to appeal to the Honorable House, sir, that if possible, if each of the schools can be provided with at least a counselor that will majorly be in charge of that, of counseling the children on what to do and what not to do. I think this will go a long way, sir. Yes, sir. Working as a team with other members of the group. Yes, a tree can never make a forest, sir. And as such, team building is very important. Communication within ourselves to work together as one, as an entity. We have to do everything possible to make sure that we uphold that. Even as we were sitting down there, this type of issue came up, and the chairman to be was telling us that we have to work together. And of course, that is nothing but basic truth. So as to move education forward in the state, we have to work together. We just have to work together to achieve. Science, yes, sir. Good 18 technology has taken every place in our nation, unlike those days. And as such, farming, agricultural science, being a basic subject, sir, should be encouraged in secondary schools. Because without farmers, we cannot live. And these children, like the federal government is doing right now, and even our state governments, emphasis is being laid on agriculture so as to be self-independent. This is very important. We have to encourage the children so that at the end of the day, if they are unable to further, they can take up agriculture as a profession using machineries with the assistance of the government grant. Yes. Sir, how to make students to be self-dependent. This is really very important, sir. That is one reason why vocational subjects, emphasis should be laid on that. And good 18, the state government is already doing that. We at our own side, we have to make sure that we follow that policy. We do everything possible to make sure that the children, the students are encouraged to have additional vocational job to do, apart from learning, apart from school academic works. Vocational subject is highly important, at least for their future. Yoruba language, sir. this is an open truth that Yoruba language, students, from my observation, students are not always keen about that language. But remember, there was a time where I made emphasis on that. At least they have to choose at least one of their mother tongue languages, at least one of it. But unfortunately, the students are not serious about this. So I remember during my service here, sir, to encourage the children, I employed part-time teachers because of the problem of Yoruba language. I employed part-time teachers to be handling them. At least I employed 2 when I was there. And so also, the Yoruba Day, Cultural Day, all these things I encourage them. So we always have a particular day set aside for this, just for the children to pick up and develop interest in Yoruba language. And sir, this honorable house has actually done tremendously in that area. Yes, although that was after my exit from service, but I do follow discussions here in the House of Assembly here. So Yoruba, we discovered that Yoruba have been made compulsory in secondary schools, and a day also have been picked as Yoruba Day, that where they teach, they do everything in Yoruba language. I think this is a very welcome idea, sir, a very good one. This, by the time we get there, we have to do everything possible by God's willing. If I'm given the opportunity to be there, I will make sure that all these policies are followed to the letter, and we improve on every of these policies. So the last issue, sir. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened because I remember that was what I was given. I have the original copy here, a plastic card. I collected from here, from the office here. The paper given to me was withdrawn. And they gave me this as residence ID card, residential one, which I've been using since then. So I'm sorry if that's not the correct one, the right one to attach. Please attender my unreserved apology. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. You can take your leave. We'll get back to you. Please bring the next person in quickly. Good afternoon. Can you please introduce yourself?
My name's Mrs. Sidika Titilayo Smith. I was born on the 5th of May 1955. I attended Jibril Martin Memorial Grammar School, Ikonri, Lagos. Muslim Teachers College, Surulere. Lagos State College of Education and University of Lagos, where I studied biology education. I served in Ogun State, 1981-82 set. Thereafter, after the grade 2 service, I joined Lagos State. So I went back and I served, after service in Ogun State, I went back to Lagos State and I was posted to Sumratu Islamic Grammar School, Igbogbo, in Ikorodu Division. After, then I got married and I was transferred to Lagos. Itolo Girls Secondary School, Stadium High School, all in Surulere. From Stadium High School, I got a study leave to further my education, and I went to, after the completion of my BSc, I was posted to Navy Town Secondary School in Ojo, where I taught biology for 9 years. In year 2000, I was appointed as a vice principal and posted to Amuwodofin High School. In 2002, I was appointed a principal and posted to Methodist High School, Badagry. 2003, when schools were divided into junior and senior secondary, I was posted to Lagos State Junior Model College, Badori, as the pioneer principal of the junior school. There, I was able to do a lot to bring the standard of, to raise the standard of the school. Because when the schools were divided, the junior school had problem of accommodation both in the hostel, but thank God we were able to surmount the problem. I was married with children.
Distinguished colleagues, standing before you is Mrs. Sidika Titilayo. Honorable Naim, straight to your question.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, fellow colleagues. Mommy, well done, ma.
Thank you.
My question is this, ma'am. What are you doing to encourage the teachers in primary schools and secondary schools to further their education? And those that have furthered their education, those that have decided to further their education, that have gotten or that have improved their educational status, what are you doing to convert them to their real status? Like those probably they have BSc probably before now, and later they've gotten MSc. What are you doing to convert them to their real status? Thank you very much.
Honorable Lowe, lastly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me just take it from your mouth. Mr. Speaker said our world is different from your world, so that's the reason why I want you to shed light into this. You graduated from University of Lagos in 1990, but the NYC discharge certificate dated 1982. However, I observed that Lagos State College of Education for the award of NC was dated 1981. You need to shed light on this. Understand what I'm saying, madam? Okay. Secondly, I observe as well that Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria awarded you a certificate of registration with number LA/S/00055 in the year April 2005. You were certified to be a teacher before you were recruited. But today, be a member of the board. To what extent will you ensure this is complied with? Because garbage in, garbage out. Many of our teachers, in secondary school, you ask them simple English. They give you different syntax errors. So, and whatever they give to our children is what they are going to imbibe. So, registration is a requirement according to one of the functions of your commission. And you are a certified teacher. To what extent will you ensure that teachers are certified teachers before recruitment into our post-primary school or colleges of education? Thank you.
When somebody has gone to school and he has been awarded certificates, What certification? What certification do you? Well, like your question, you've asked a question earlier on him. I think I'm going by the, what is it called, the functions of the agency in question. Right? There's limit to which any of the members can do in respect of your question. On your certificate, madam, can you just explain the dates issue on your certificate? Mrs. Smith, on your certificate, Honorable Lowe asked questions on dates. Can you explain the date issue?
Can I do so now, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, after the NC, sir, we NC graduates go for NYSC in our own time. That was why it was predated the BSc.
Thank you very much. Well, you can take your leave. We'll get back to you. And bring the next person, please. Tisha Ogunyebi, you did not ask any question. Hope no problem.
Well, Mr. Speaker, these are familiar faces in the education sector, and honestly, if you ask me, I'll just vouch for all of them and allow the House to.
You should have said so. We wouldn't have bothered to invite anybody. Good afternoon. Can you please introduce yourself?
The Speaker of the House, the honorable members of the House of Assembly, Lagos State. My name is Adeleke Oluseun Kara. I was born in Ikorodu, May 26, 1956, to Mr. and Mrs. Lamidi Kara of blessed memory. I attended African Bethel School, Maya, and later Emmanuel School, Ishon. Then Ijebode Grammar School, Ijebode. From Ijebode Grammar School, after leaving school, I had a brief stint at NEPA headquarters, Manila, as a correspondence clerk. From there, I went to the then Federal Advanced Teachers College, Okene, now Federal College of Education. From there, I did the NYSC of Ilofa in Kwara State, the same year, 80. In 1980, after my NYSC, I was employed as a master grade 3 by the defunct School Management Board, Lagos State O Secretariat. After I was posted to Teachers College in Ikorodu in 1980 to teach agri-science and education. I spent a year and a few months. I went back to University of Ibadan to read Guidance and Counseling Education, and I was reabsorbed into Lagos State public service through teaching service then, through the same SMB, and was posted to Teachers College in Ikorodu. But later, I was moved to Ikorodu Grammar School to spend just a few months, from where I was moved back to the SMC Secretariat. They call it SMC then because they are SM Secretariat in Ikorodu there. to be the Staff Development and Welfare Officer of the Ikorodu SMC. I spent 2 years there before I was taken to Majidun Grammar School, Ikorodu, to teach agri-science. After 2 years, I was posted to Oriwu College, Ikorodu, as HOD Science and Agri-Science teacher. Oriwu was where I spent majority of my career as a teacher. I spent a total of 14 years in Oriwu College. As a teacher, I became a VP there also. It was from Oriwu College I moved to my first school as a principal, Ipakodo Grammar School, in 2000, year 2000, January. When the schools were divided in 2000, December, I was the pioneer principal of Civil Service Junior Model College, Igbogbo, where I spent 7.5 years before I was moved to Odogiyan Grammar School just for about 11 days before I was posted to Oriwu College Senior. Schools were already 2 then as principal. From where I was moved to Majidun Grammar School, Junior School, where I retired in 2015. After my retirement in Majidun, I was going to my fish farm on the morning of 10th of January last year, and I received a phone call that I will be having a meeting at the Deputy Governor's office. I said, I'm already out of service. They said I should come. There was an important meeting. So I was made a member of the School Revision Committee, Lagos State, which I served for about 7 months before it was disbanded. I'm married with children.
Are you done, or there is one you have left out? Just answer, don't bother where the voice is coming from.
Okay. I'm okay.
While the distinguished colleague standing before is Mr. Karadeleke Oluwaseun, if there's any question? Well, Honorable Tunde Brahimo, Honorable SOB.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Kara, I've observed with some surprise that it will appear as if some of your colleagues who came here before you are not very conversant with the mandate of the agency you intend to serve. Can you tell us the core mandate, the basic functions of the agency?
The teaching service.
Okay. Just take a seat and take down the question. Yeah, Honorable Agumrade.
Mr. Speaker, without prejudice to the question asked by Honorable Bravo, I just want to say, Mr. Speaker, that as a biology chemistry teacher, I worked with Mr. Kara, and he was very diligent, fought for teachers' rights, and I'm sure he will serve well if given the opportunity. Just that he will have to tell the House, how will you assist the Commission in curbing the increased rate of drug abuse and violence through cultism in schools these days? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, you can go ahead and answer the questions.
It's about staff welfare. And welfare of the staff encompasses a lot of things. Training, retraining, encouraging them, then distribution, the level of work, the load of work. Because from experience, you find out that some colleagues in some areas, in some districts are having maybe 10, 12 periods, while their colleagues in some areas are having up to 30, 40. This should be one of the priorities of the new Teaching Service Commission, so that some will not be overloaded while others are not having enough to do. Then the mandate also has to do with discipline. You have to ensure that the discipline of staff, even though it should have human face, but we should not be lackadaisical in approach to discipline of staff, so that whatever you give to the teachers in terms of encouragement and enhancement and promotion and whatever will also rub on the children in the way they discharge their duties in the classroom. Then the issue of drug abuse and violence in schools. I'm sorry, this is a Yoruba environment. I want to use this. Wọ́n ní amúkú ẹrù ẹ̀wọ́, wọ́n ní òkèlèwò ẹ̀wò sàlẹ̀. I think the issue of drug abuse is as a foundational issue with us in Nigeria as of today. We need to take the things right from the home front. encourage parents also to monitor their children very well. I have discovered over time that many parents leave their children totally to the teachers to take care of so many things. Then the issue of drug abuse. In areas where you have schools, I think there should be a discouragement of all these agbo sellers, all these bucaterias and drug peddlers around the schools. Then garages. Many schools that are around garages also will engage in these vices. So we should try and locate or remove motor parks and areas that will influence these children badly. Then the issue of violence. I think drug abuse definitely will lead to violence. When a child takes too much of tramadol, his brain will function abnormally and he will misbehave. So we have, it should be a three-pronged approach. The home, the school, and the society at large.
Well, thank you very much. You can take your leave. We'll get back to you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we
Hold
are.
on. Who? Sorry, Majority Leader, we still have one left. Can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Hadijat Hazan Kuburat. I was born on the 17th of January, 1965 in Ajegunle, Ajeromi local government. I attended African One Primary School and subsequently proceeded to secondary school, Ejigbo Community High School and Antioch Comprehensive Girls High School, from where I also was admitted into Lagos State University for Bachelor of Science degree in Political Science and also postgraduate diploma in education. I also have Masters in Education, Master of Science degree in Political Science, and I'm presently on a PhD program at the University of Ilorin. I am married with children.
My distinguished colleagues,